Okay, I want to go ahead and cover the very last part of this problem. These two are pretty easy. Which method produced the highest cost of goods sold? Well, you go down the list here and you see that 2082 is LIFO created the highest cost of goods sold. Which method produced the lowest cost of goods? Well, you can sit there and do numbers. FIFO is 1195, 2082. I want to focus on this. The difference in cost of goods sold under the two methods identified was caused by the increase in inventory costs. So if you look here at the layers, again, back to the layers as the anchor that helps us, you notice that the price is slowly increasing from the beginning layer of 165 to the middle of the month 166 to the end of the month almost 175. Well, if we're selling from this lower, right, uh, layer, right, we're having a higher cost of goods sold. That's why we have higher cost of goods sold. Remember, LIFO sells from the bottom up back to LIFO. Uh, uh, LIFO, FIFO sells from the top to the bottom from the oldest. So of course, if prices are dropping, you're going to have lower cost of goods sold. So the increase in inventory unit cost is what's creating this. This is all fine. This is all good. I want to stress something again. What if I was to ask you which one of these methods will provide you the highest gross profit? Okay, this is where it's important, what we talked about in class. We've got revenue, right? Sales revenue. We've got cost of goods sold. Okay, and this creates gross profit. Okay, sometimes called gross margin. Be mindful that these move in unison. This moves in unison with this, right? Okay, and this moves the opposite of gross profit. Okay, and if this comes down, this goes up. It makes sense. If this is a smaller number, we'll be deducting less from revenue, and this will be higher. So if this is lower, this has to be higher, and if this is higher, this has to be lower. The reason this is important is you could easily on this problem be asked, which one of these methods will produce the most gross profit? Notice you go, oops, there's no gross profit here. Oops, there's no gross profit here. But if you're smart and you're test ready, you know that gross profit runs the opposite direction as cost of goods sold, right? So for gross profit to be the highest possible, that means cost of goods sold has to be the lowest possible. So you look up and down here, and the lowest is FIFO. So FIFO, in this case, when unit costs, when purchasing of inventory is getting more and more expensive, then FIFO is going to give you the highest gross margin or gross profit. Okay? The inverse is true. If I was to ask you which one of these will give you the lowest gross profit, in other words, which one of these will give you the smallest number here? Well, if you want this to be low, you need this to be high because they have inverse relationships. So if you want this to be, if you were curious what the effect of this being high will be on this, what you do is you say, okay, cost of goods sold, I understand the relationship that as this gets higher, this gets lower. So we come here. This is not the highest. This is 2040. This is the highest. Okay. So under LIFO, cost of goods sold would be the highest, right? The highest. So that would mean that's when cost of gross profit would be the lowest. Okay. Understand these relationships. Obviously this is kind of intuitive because revenue goes up, of course, gross profit goes up. But cost of goods sold and gross profit run in opposition to each other. So know which method is going to give you the highest gross profit. And that will help you as you answer questions. But yeah, I'm going to spin. I just want to make sure I covered this last portion and even added some more to it. I hope you found this useful.